Mic check 1 2 on 2. Mic check 1 2 on 2. Mic check 1 2 on 2. Welcome back to Gyms with Josh, guys. And yes, we've made it back to week 17, championship week, championship or bust. And yes, it's on. It's go time. That's why I got the shiesty on, man. It's time to go to work. Killer mode. Let's see what we're going to get, guys. Let me take this thing off. All right, man. Welcome back to Gyms with Josh. Week 17 again, championship or bust week. I'm very hyped. Last week, I won one of my championships in one of my leagues. And this week in my big money league, I am in the championship and I am excited. The fact that I got here is an absolute miracle. So many injuries last week, so many ups and downs with players last week. So if you were able to survive to get to week 17, to be in the championship round, man, it's a blessing to you. Good luck. I'm going to give you guys a couple gems this week that hopefully get you over the hump to become a league winner. Again, I won one of my leagues last week, put a little content out this week if you guys want to check it out. But this week we're going for another one, trying to go back to back, baby. So yeah, let's go ahead and get ready with this EP, okay? So again, week 17 championship week, man. A lot of matchups and injuries that have happened in the past few weeks that make things so much more harder. A guy like me, I had Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice on my team, and both of them had terrible weeks last week. First of all, Rashee Rice did not play at all because he was in concussion protocol, and Travis Kelce only had one catch in his matchup. He had a backup quarterback with Gardner Minshew who gets hurt right at the beginning of the game, and then they have backup plan, so it was absolutely awful. I know there's a lot of other guys, a lot of teams out there that really had those issues. Jordan Love getting hurt in the Chicago Bears-Packers game hurt a lot of people. So, yeah, really check the injury report this week to see who's actually playing quarterback, right? If you got a backup quarterback or the backup to the backup quarterback, there's certain guys in your lineups that you may not even want to deal with, man, unless they're running back and they're going to get a lot more carries. So be very mindful of that, as well as matchups, right? There are some teams who've already made the playoffs that don't really have much to play for. So some of those teams may be only playing the first half, or they may not be playing at all. So you definitely want to check on those things as well, okay? Big things that you definitely want to look at this week are your tight ends, your defense and special teams. And if you're still streaming quarterbacks like some people are, you definitely want to look at that as well. Quarterback was a position that either got people over the hump last week or under the hump. One of my matchups I played last week, the real reason that I won, the guy that I played against, he started Jackson Dart, and he had his worst game of the season. He basically didn't score any points, and that helped me get over the hump. So, yeah, matchups are key. But, again, like I told you guys on the last EP, right, you really got to make some adjustments, and you got to use some skill to win this thing. But more than anything, guys, you need luck, all right? So, hopefully you guys get some of that good luck this week. All right, let's move over to running backs for this week. And one guy I love this week is Dylan Sampson, running back from the Cleveland Browns going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I simply love him because of PPR. He's going to get a ton of catches in that offense. Judkins is out for the season. I think he broke his leg last week. So Shador will be in that lineup with Dylan Sampson in the backfield with him going against Pittsburgh. Shador's really been dropping the ball off a lot. If you really need a running back to put into your flex this week, maybe RB2, I think a guy like Dylan Sampson can get you probably over 10 points because of PPR. He's probably going to get a lot of catches, and he's going to be very involved in that offense. So, yeah, maybe check him out this week. Another guy I love this week, who I've been talking about the past few weeks, is Chad Rodriguez, running back from the Commanders going against the Dallas Cowboys. And simply because, like I keep saying with him, it's going to be volume, okay? A thing that's really great for him that'll help him out this week is it looks like the Commanders are probably going to go with Josh Johnson, who is the QB3 in that offense, and he's not very good, so they're really going to have to run the ball a lot. Short week going against Dallas. Just last week against a good Eagles defense, he had 14 fantasy points. If you really need a running back to stream this week because of injuries or different things like that, Chad Rodriguez may not be a bad solution. And last on that list, Blake Corum. This guy has really become a problem in my backside because I own Kyron Williams in one of my leagues, and Blake Corum is really coming on. He's had double digits in his last 4 games at running back. He's really stealing a lot of the goal line work from Kyron Williams, and he's scoring a lot of touchdowns. They're going against Atlanta this week. Atlanta has not been great against the run. If Blake Corum somehow is still on your waiver wire in your league, he will be a great pickup. I guarantee you he's probably going to get over 10 fantasy points again this week. All right, let's move over to wide receiver this week. And a guy who I've always liked, Josh Downs, wide receiver from the Indianapolis Colts, going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Since Phillip Rivers has came in that offense, he's targeted Josh Downs 14 times in the last 2 games. I think that continues this week against Jacksonville. I think for the Colts to be able to stay in the game, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. It seems like Phillip really likes Josh Downs out of the slot. They've really been focusing on Jonathan Taylor. I think Josh Downs will be a safe bet for you this week at your flex or maybe even wide receiver 2. A lot of targets, may even get in the end zone again this week, all right? And another guy I like this week who's really, really falling off on the radar, you have Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going against the Vikings. This week they only have him projected at 6 fantasy points. I think he'll definitely go over that this week. Going against the Dolphins this week, he's really, really been struggling in that offense, but that's been because, Mike Evans come back over and Chris Godwin has gotten healthy. But I think this guy is still very good, and they're going against the Dolphins this week. The Dolphins have a really, really bad secondary. I think Egbuka will break out this week, get you anywhere between 10 to 20 fantasy points. If you have Egbuka this week, man, put him into your lineup, start him. I think he's going to have a good week in the championship round, all right? Let's move over to tight end. So many tight ends that are hurt. So many tight ends that have bad quarterback situations going on. So what do we do with it? All right. We got a guy out there who I've liked all season. You got Brenton Strange going against the Indianapolis Colts. Absolutely love the matchup. George Kittle just went crazy on Monday night against the Colts. I think Brenton Strange will definitely do the same. Trevor Lawrence is playing the best he has at quarterback in his NFL career. And Strange just had a great game last week against the Denver Broncos. Tough defense. Colts defense isn't as good. And again, they struggled against tight ends last week. I think if you need a tight end this week, Brenton Strange is one of those guys that you could definitely put into your lineup. All right, and last but not least, Taysom Hill, old dog, right? From the New Orleans Saints going against the Tennessee Titans. The Saints have had a lot of issues with running backs being injured recently, with Devin Hill going down and Alvin Kamara being out. They've been using Taysom Hill in a lot of the short yardage plays as well as goal line, and he's been throwing and he has been catching the ball at times as well. Taysom Hill feels like 5-6 years ago when a lot of us didn't know, if we had to put him at quarterback or tight end or where we could put him. He is listed at tight end this week. Going against the Titans, pretty good matchup. I think if you need a tight end this week, Taysom Hill might be able to get you over the hump. A lot of value with him this week, all right? All right, so this Thursday, Merry Christmas to everybody. We got 3 Christmas games on Thursday. We're going to definitely put in a few bets on those. Good luck to you guys. And again, happy holidays. Bet safely. If you put $10 in on this play on Prize Picks, you will win $400. All right. And we're going to go ahead and start with CeeDee Lamb. They have CeeDee Lamb this week at 79.5 receiving yards. Going to go over on that one. They're going against the Commanders. Commanders really, really struggle in the secondary. They just gave up a ton of yards last week to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think CeeDee Lamb eats this week. All right. On the other side, Chris Rodriguez. You got Chris Rodriguez going against the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, man, I think he's going to go over 47.5 rush yards this week. Cowboys have always struggled against running backs at times. And I really think that, the Commanders are going to really have to run the ball a ton just to stay in the game. Again, they might have Mariota, but it looks like they're going to have that backup. Chris Rodriguez, 47.5 rush yards. I'm going to go up on that one. You got Detroit going against Minnesota this week. I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 33.5 receiving yards. I'm going to go up on that one. He's been very involved in the passing game. The Lions are still trying to play for something. The Vikings are good against the run, but they struggle at times because they blitz a lot. Jahmyr Gibbs really fast going against a lot of the linebackers this week. 33.5 receiving yards. Going to go over on that one. All right, Chiefs, you got them going against the Broncos this week. You got Isaiah Pacheco. They have him at 11.5 receiving yards. Going to go up on that one. Last week, he had over 6 catches, 40 yards going against the Titans last week with the backup quarterback. I think it's going to be the same thing this week. I think his name is Alua Khan or something like that. He's playing quarterback this week. He's going to have to drop the ball off a lot. Denver's defense is absolutely amazing. Pacheco, 11.5 receiving yards. Going to go up on that one. On the other side, you got R.J. Harvey for the Broncos going against KC. They have him at 52.5 rush yards. Since he's taken over that RB1 position, he's been going absolutely bananas. Looking really, really good in that offense. I think he's going to go over 52.5 rush yards. The Chiefs struggled last week against Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears from the Titans. I think R.J. Harvey has a good week. And last but not least, I'm pretty surprised at this prop that they have up right now, but hey, I'm going to go ahead and take it. They have Troy Franklin at 33.5 receiving yards. He's been pretty much, Bo Nix is wide receiver 2 this entire season. Bo Nix has really looked at him. Just last week, he went over, I believe, 60 yards going against Jacksonville. I think he'll definitely go over 33.5 receiving yards this Christmas. And hopefully, yeah, this prop right here will get us some Christmas cash. Again, man, championship week. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys make the right adjustments. And again, going to take some skill, but it's also going to take a lot of luck. Hopefully, when we meet next week, we will be talking about how we all became league winners. And we'll talk about, all the things that got us here. So again, good luck, week 17. Gems with Josh. Check y'all next week. Peace.